after I do my announcements, can I then go watch the service in the other room and then come back at the end? Yeah. He can't be out here. Shana Tova, and welcome to our Yom Kippur services 5781. I'm Eddie Lang, past president of the Or Kaddish Board of Directors and current member of the Or Tzion Youth Commission. Thank you for joining us online tonight. Our clergy and High Holiday Committee have spent a considerable amount of time planning this unique online experience, and we hope that you have not only been enjoying the services with you and your family, but you're finding it meaningful, even though we cannot all be together. It is my pleasure to introduce our transitional senior rabbi, David Klatzker, after Cantor Rubenstein welcomes us into the holiday with this special nigun.
Yum berry bum, 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 yum
fast. And now you're ready for a day with no joy and no celebration, a day when you will spend all of your time in self-examination. Tell me, are you crazy? No, you're not crazy. Yom Kippur is demanding, but this is when more of you participate than any other day during the entire year, because you feel a spiritual need to be here. You want to be with other Jews tonight. It doesn't matter if you were raised Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist, or secular. Some of you quit after bar or bat mitzvah, bored out of your wits. Some of you have always enjoyed learning about Judaism. Some of you are atheists, but you still seek to live by Jewish values. Some of you are social activists. Some of you are spiritual seekers. Some of you were not born Jewish and have chosen to join our faith community. Some of you are rediscovering your Jewish identity. Some of you are probably a bit sick of talking about it. Welcome to all of you. We come from all manners of family, all walks of life, and we gather here as Jews to examine our lives tonight. Welcome. We also welcome the spirits of our ancestors, boobies, zetas, moms and dads, aunts and uncles, the chain of generations to which we link ourselves anew tonight. And welcome to the light that shines in each of our souls. May we share it generously and fully with each other tonight and throughout the coming year. Wherever you are watching us, I ask you to look at the faces in the room around you. Every single one of us a child of God. Every face of beauty with a life's experiences etched thereon. At this moment, we simply acknowledge that we are fellow travelers, and in our hearts, we bless one another. In the words of the poet Rumi, "Come, come, whomever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is not a caravan of despair, but ours is a caravan of hope. Come, come, even if you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again. Come." Page 398 in the Moxer book.
Bishiva shel mala, ubishiva shel mata, al da'at hamakom, ve'al da'at hakahal, anu matirin, להתפלל עם העבריינים. בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. כל נדרי ועשרי וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דין דרנה ודשתבנה ודאחרים נא ודיאסונה על נפשתנה מיום כיפורים שעבר עד יום כיפורים זה הבא. עלינו Kohon, Yehon, Sharon, Shvikin, Shvitin, Betelin umevutalin, La sherin vela kayamin, Nidrana la nidre, Ve'esarana la esare, Ushevuatana la Shavuot. Kol nidrei ve'esarei v'charamei v'konamei v'chinuyei v'kinusei Ushavuot. Din darna udehistebana udeacharimna v'diasana al nafshatana Miyom Kippurim she'avar ad Yom Kippurim zeh haba aleinu letova kon icharat navahon kohon ehon sharan shvikin shvitin betelin umevutalin la sharirin melakayamin nidrana la nidre ve'esarana la esarei ushevuatana la Shavuot. Kol nidrei ve'esarei v'charamei v'konamei v'kinuyei v'kinusei Ushavuot. Din darna udehistevana udeacharimna v'diasana al nafshatana Miyom Kippurim she'avar ad Yom Kippurim zeh haba aleinu letova kon איחרת נא והון כהון יהון שרון שוויקין שביתין בטלין ומבוטלין לא שרירין ולא קיימין נדרה נא לנדרי ושרה נא לאסרי ושבועתנה לא שבועות. ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה סלח נא לעוון העם הזה כגודל חסדך וכאשר נשאת לעם הזה ממצרים יד הנה ושם נאמר ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
You may be seated. Page 402, we read responsively, all vows. All vows, promises, and commitments made in your presence, may we be given the strength to keep them.
Our vows to ourselves, commitments to self-discipline, may we take our own lives seriously enough to heed them, honoring our resolve in the way we eat and drink, the way we work and rest, the way we regulate our lives.
Commitments made to loved ones and friends, pledges made to worthwhile causes. Help us to become as compassionate and generous as we sought to be at those noble moments.
The promises we made to worship and to study, we meant them when we made them, but distractions are many and our wills are weak. This time, may we be strong enough. May our better selves prevail.
Promises made in the synagogue by young people who glimpsed what life as Jews might hold in store for them. May devotion and idealism be with them all their days.
Our marriage vows, may they endure through dark days and through dull days, through fatigue and through frustration, May our love prove strong and our faith firm.
Oh God, we meant the promises we made to you, to each other, and to ourselves, even as we mean the vows we silently make tonight.
Reach down to us as we strive to reach up toward you. Give us the strength and self-respect, the fidelity and vision to grow, to become the people we have sworn to be.
All worthy vows and commitments which we make from this Yom Kippur until the next, may we be faithful enough and firm enough to keep them. Page 408, we rise for Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vad. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vad. Umavir Yom, Umevi Laila, Umavdil Ben Yom Uben Laila, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Amen.
Please be seated. Page 410, Denny Lieber reads Ahavat Olam.
With everlasting love, you have loved your people Israel, teaching us the Torah and its mitzvot, instructing us in its laws and judgments. Therefore, O Lord our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we shall speak of your commandments and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot. For they are our life and the length of our days. On them we will meditate day and night. May your love never depart from us. Praised are you, O Lord, who loves your people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. לחיה אם שמעת תשמעו מצוותי אשר אנוכי צווכם היום.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Lemor. Lahem tzitzit. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Page 418.
Umalchuto beratzon kivu alehem. Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabah ve'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Norah tehilot osef eleh Malchutcha rahu vanecha Pokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli anu ve'amnu Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Ve'ne'emar Kifada Adonai et Yaakov Uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Page 420. Ariella Trost is going to read Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, lehamidenu Malkeinu lehayim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו.
For on this day atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you. Of all your sins shall you be clean before the Lord. Please rise if you are able, page 422.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה אמן ויעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך
וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה ולעילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירון בעלמא, ואמרו Amen.
We stand at attention for the quiet Amidah, pages 424 through 441.
Ose shalom bimromav, shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
My friends, over the last few weeks, I drafted a lot of different Kol Nidre sermons and tore them up one after the other. It finally dawned on me that there is really only one thing that I should talk about this year. Not vows and promises, not repentance, not Israel or the need to support Jewish institutions. Those are all wonderful topics, but not this year. No, the one thing that is on everyone's mind right now is the pandemic, a massive disruption in our lives. Everyone is scared. Everyone feels isolated. Everyone is tired of being cooped up at home. What are some Jewish teachings that can help us deal with these circumstances? Let me offer 3 principles that may be useful. The first is try to develop a sense of equanimity. Don't respond to upsetting situations in a blind and reactive way. One Hebrew word for equanimity is hishtavut, which comes from the root shaveh, which means equal. Whether things are good or bad, you don't have to lose your balance. You don't have to feel that you are on a roller coaster, either super excited about the possibility of a vaccine or feeling depressed that no vaccine is likely to be available for many months. You can step back and observe your feelings from a higher level, a more objective plane. Equanimity is not the same thing as ambivalence. It's not that you don't care about things. Rather, you care deeply, but you learn to rise above your emotions. If something bad happens, like a loved one or a friend testing positive for COVID-19, you can say to yourself, anxiety is there, yet now it is where I can see it. With it up front, I can tame it and harness it. I can take the sting out of anxiety. To give an example of this, if you've ever watched paramedics arrive on the scene, you'll notice that they don't run around wildly and yell like they do on TV. In real life, they clearly assess the situation and let their training do the work. It's an emergency, but they don't go crazy. Paramedics know the value of being fully present, witnessing the pain, yet not fighting fire with fire. That's hishtavu, that's equanimity. A young mother asked me, How can I keep my cool when the kids have cabin fever and chaos is everywhere and I have to make dinner and answer my work emails? I told her, when that happens, take a brief time out and pay attention to your breathing. Your emotions will pass. Try to refocus and return to the routine that you know is necessary for your household, even if the routine may sometimes get interrupted. To give another example, if you pick up the newspaper and read a headline that really agitates you, something that happens to me nearly every day, you don't have to numb yourself by popping a pill or eating a whole sheet cake. And you don't have to fall into the trap of righteous indignation, which usually leads us to demonize people whose beliefs and opinions are different from ours. Instead of flipping out, you can ask yourself, how can I get my self-control back? Can I find a way to use my gifts and talents calmly and resolutely to make a difference? What can I do that would be constructive and not destructive? When you step back from the situation for a moment, you can get back on track. With a little practice, you can learn to surf the waves of life. I'm from California, and I like surfing analogies. With hishtavut, you won't fall off the surfboard. Again, the first principle is try to develop a sense of equanimity. Don't respond to upsetting situations in a blind and reactive way. The second principle is closely related to the first. Be patient, for God's timeline is not always our timeline. I once heard the story of an elderly woman who had married twice, both wealthy men. She was never much in love with either man, though, and when the second husband died after a long illness, she was convinced that true love would not come her way. Then a great tragedy occurred. Her beloved son was diagnosed with cancer, and he died a short time later. She experienced such grief that she no longer wanted to live. She was in her 80s and felt her life was over. But then something truly unexpected happened. Her heart was exposed in a way it had not been before. She found herself more willing to express her feelings. She became more generous and more sensitive to the pain of others. She fell in love deeply with a man a few years younger than she. He adored her, and they were together for several happy years before she died. So what am I saying? Am I saying that people should wait until their 80s for their true love to come? No. My message is simply that we are asking the wrong question. The question is not, when will I be happy again? Rather, the question is, how can I find a measure of happiness while I'm waiting for things to return to normal? There's a little experiment you might try the next time you're stuck at a red light. Instead of being frustrated and saying to yourself, I won't be happy until the light changes, say instead, it is with happiness that I will wait for the light to turn green. This may sound ridiculous, but it is a spiritual discipline that really works. Listen to some music or think a pleasant thought while you are waiting. Stop putting your happiness in the hands of traffic signals that are slow to change. For that matter, stop putting it in the hands of people who are keeping you waiting until they change. You will feel a lot better. This, by the way, is the great secret of justice seekers like Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Zichronah Livracha. They do not deny that there is injustice in the world, but they work diligently with love and happiness in their hearts while they wait for the arc of the moral universe to bend toward right and equity. So the second principle is be patient. For God's timeline is not always our timeline. Don't give up. Work persistently for what you believe. My third principle is build a web of trust for yourself. This is what the Musar rabbis, the masters of character development, call bitachon, trust or confidence. In Novardok, in Russia, the Musar yeshiva taught its young students confidence by buying them rail tickets for a destination 200 miles away. But it was only a one-way ticket, and they had no money. The young students would have to confront their fears and make their way back to the yeshiva all on their own. No easy task in an unsafe environment, especially for Jews in 19th century Russia. Can you imagine such a thing? I'm not suggesting that we do the same thing with our young people. But I've been hearing a lot of stories about college students today. They have many fears. Of course, they should be kept physically safe from the virus, and they should be protected from violence on campus. And hate speech has no place on college campuses or anywhere else. But our young people should learn that they can't always be comfortable. They don't have to feel good all the time. They need to learn to utilize their strengths. They need to learn how to be resilient. I've been talking about trust in ourselves and in others. In Musar literature, bitachon usually refers to trust in God. But most of us oscillate between trust and a lack of confidence in God. There are times when God is easy to access. A beautiful sunset, the birth of a child, a wedding. At other times, it is not so easy. When life is tough, when we are suffering pain or grief. Yet God's presence is still here if we stay open to finding traces of God in our lives and in the world around us. Psalm 27, which is recited during this season, says, Adonai orivi ishi. Adonai is my light and my salvation. The psalmist doesn't say, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Instead, he says, if you are to get any encouragement, it's going to come from outside of your fearful soul. Bitachon, trust, is not blind faith. Rather, it is the ability to face hard times because you've experienced moments of grace in your life. Your experiences have taught you not to give up on God. Finally, let me try to apply to the synagogue some of the ideas that I've been suggesting to you. Congregation or Tzion is now in a period of transition. We should acknowledge the anxiety that many people feel. Some may be saying, why can't we get through this painful period as quickly as possible? Just hire a new permanent rabbi and get it over with. But that would be a mistake. Important decisions can't be rushed. Moreover, the transition period should be seen as an opportunity for self-examination. By stepping back, asking questions, and reflecting, we can hire the right rabbi for the job and get the congregation on the path to renewal. Instead of letting anxiety drive the process, let's be patient and build trust. We will try to engage as many of you as possible in a listening campaign. We want to hear your thoughts. What do you and your family need right now? What are your dreams for the future of the congregation? We need a sense of curiosity to see what new possibilities may be lurking just around the corner. We need to stretch instead of kvetch. My message this evening is simple. Learn to surf the waves of life. Wait patiently and work diligently for what you believe. Trust in others and in God. May this be a year when we face difficult situations in an unexpectedly calm and deliberate manner. May we help each other make the world a better place without forgetting our soul in the process. May we build a web of trust for ourselves. L'shana tova techatemu. May we all be sealed for a good year. Amen. Page 446, the ark is opened. We rise for Yahweh.
Yahweh, tachanunenu me'erev, ve'yavo, shavatenu miboker, ve'yera'eh, rinunenu adarev, rinunenu adarev, Ya'aleh koleinu me'erev ve'yavo tzidkatenu miboker ve'yera'eh pidionenu adarev pidionenu adarev.
The ark is closed. Page 448.
Hanasham alach ve'haguf po'olach chusa al amalach Hanasham alach ve'haguf shelach Adonai aseh lema'an shemecha Atanu al shimcha Adonai aseh lema'an shemecha bavur kevod shimcha ki achanun v'rachum shemecha lema'an shimcha Adonai v'salachta la'avonenu Kiravu.
Page 450, Kihine Kachomer.
Kihine kachomer beyad hayotzer birtzoto marchiv ובirtzoto mekatzer כן אנחנו בידך חסד נוצר לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר כי הנה כאבן ביד המסתת ברצותו אוחז וברצותו מחטט. כן אנחנו בידך מחיה וממוטט לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר.
As iron in the hand of the artisan who forges or rejects it at will, so are we in your hand, O God who saves. Recall your covenant, forgive our sin. As glass in the hand of the blower who shapes or melts it at will, so are we in your hand, O gracious God. Recall your covenant, forgive our sin. As cloth in the hand of the draper who drapes or twists it at will, so are we in your hand, O righteous God. Recall your covenant, forgive our sin. As silver in the hand of the smelter who alloys or refines it at will, so are we in your hand, O healing God. Recall your covenant, forgive our sin.
כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף, ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף. כן אנחנו בידך ממציא למזור טרף לברית הבית ואל תפן ליצר.
You may be seated. Page 454, we come to the 13 attributes of God. We are supposed to imitate these attributes. We are supposed to try to embody them. And so as you read this, try to think, to what extent do I embody this attribute? 454.
אל הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לעניו מקדם כמו שכתוב. וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויעבור אדוני על פניו, ויקרא. אדוני, אדוני, אל נחום וחנון, אליך אפיים, ורב חסד באמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה ונקה. וסלחת לעווננו וחטאתנו נחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו. כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קוראיך, ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Page 458, Jan Shear reads Shema Kolenu.
Hear our voice, Lord our God. Spare us, pity us. Accept our prayer in your gracious love. Turn us to you, O Lord, and we shall return. You knew us as days of old. Do not banish us from your presence. Do not deprive us of your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us off in old age. When our strength declines, do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, O Lord our God. Do not make yourself distant from us.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chuz verachem aleinu aleinu, vekabel berachamim uveratzon. Et tefilatenu, Hashivenu Adonai elecha, Hashivenu elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu kekedem. Tashlichenu, al tashlichenu, leitzikna, ki chut kocheinu. Shema Kolenu.
Page 460, Ki Anu Amecha.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Slach lanu mechalanu, Kaper lanu, Ai ki anu amecha, Ve'ata Eloheinu, Anu vanecha, Ve'ata Avinu, Anu avadecha, Ve'ata Adonenu, Anu kehalecha, Ve'ata chelkenu, Anu nachalatecha, Ve'ata godalenu, Anu tzanecha, Ve'ata rohenu, Anu chadmecha, Ve'ata notrenu, Anu ve'ulatecha, Ve'ata yotzreinu, Anu dayatecha, Ve'ata dodenu, Anu segulatecha, Ve'ata krovenu, Anu amecha, Ve'ata malkeinu, Anu ma'amirecha, Ve'ata ma'amirenu.
We come now to the vidui, the confessional. One of my favorite memories of Jewish summer camp when I was a youngster was in the hours just before Shabbat, when the campers would do nikayon, cleanup. The counselors and even the unit heads would clean with us. Even the camp director would join in if he was around. That part I remember most vividly. It was a real ritual. The trash was collected and removed. Then we showered and got dressed for prayer. And I think of that now as we are about to say Ashamnu. This is our opportunity to reflect and improve. It's our opportunity to clean up, to clean ourselves up from the accumulated moral schmutz, the transgressions of the year. We need to take advantage of this moment. Page 462, we rise.
Ay, 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 Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibanu Dofi, Hevinu, Vehirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker. Ay, 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 Yatsnura, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niyatsnu, Sadarnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sadarnu, Kishinu Oref. Ay, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu. Ay, 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 ay,
Page 466, we remain standing for all hate.
החטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, והחטא שחטאנו לפניך בביטוי שפתיים.
We have sinned against you by hardening our hearts, and we have sinned against you by speaking perversely. We have sinned against you publicly and privately, and we have sinned against you by corrupt speech. We have sinned against you by evil thoughts, and we have sinned against you by insincere confession. We have sinned against you intentionally and unintentionally, and we have sinned against you by desecrating your name. For all these sins, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
We have sinned against you by foolish talk. We have sinned against you knowingly and unknowingly. We have sinned against you by bribery. And we have sinned against you by slander. We have sinned against you in eating and drinking. And we have sinned against you by false pride. For all these sins, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשיקור עין, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעזות מצח.
We have sinned against you by wanton glances, and we have sinned against you by effrontery. We have sinned against you by perverting justice, and we have sinned against you by envy. We have sinned against you by being stubborn, and we have sinned against you by tale-bearing. We have sinned against you by causeless hatred, and we have sinned against you by confusion of values. For all these sins, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
You may be seated. Page 470.
מי שענה לאברהם אבינו בהר המוריה, הוא יעננו. מי שענה ליצחק בנו כשנעקר על גב המזבח, הוא יעננו.
He who answered Abraham, our father, on Mount Moriah, may God answer us. And his son Isaac, when he bound upon the altar, may God answer us.
מי שענה ליעקב בבית אל, הוא יעננו. מי שענה ליוסף בבית האסורים, הוא יעננו.
He who answered Jacob in Bethel, may God answer us. And Joseph unjustly imprisoned in Egypt, may God answer us.
מי שענה לאבותינו על ים סוף, הוא יעננו. מי שענה למשה בחורב, הוא יעננו.
He who answered our ancestors at the sea, may God answer us. And Moses in the wilderness of Horeb, May God answer us.
מי שענה להרון במחתה הוא יעננו. מי שענה לפנחס בקומו מתוך העדה הוא יעננו.
And he who answered Aaron bearing an offering, may God answer us. And Pinchas, when he fought for the right, may God answer us.
מי שענה להושע בגלגל הוא יעננו. מי שענה לשמואל במצפה הוא יעננו.
He who answered Joshua in Gilgal, may God answer us. And Samuel in Mitzvah, may God answer us.
מי שענה לדוד ושלמה בנו בירושלים הוא יעננו. מי שענה לאליהו בהר הכרמל הוא יעננו.
He who answered David and Solomon in Jerusalem, may God answer us. And Elijah on Mount Carmel, may God answer us.
מי שענה לאלישע ביריחו הוא יעננו. מי שענה ליונה במאי הדגה הוא יעננו.
And he who answered Elisha in Jericho, may God answer us. And he who answered Jonah inside the fish, may God answer us.
מי שענה לחזקיהו בחליו הוא יעננו. מי שענה לחנניה, מישאל ועזריה בתוך כבשן האש הוא יעננו.
And he who answered Hezekiah in his illness, may God answer us. And he who answered Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah thrown into the fiery furnace, may God answer us.
מי שענה לדניאל בגוב האריות הוא יעננו. מי שענה למרדכי ואסתר בשושן הבירה הוא יעננו.
And he who answered Daniel in the lion's den, may God answer us. And Mordecai and Esther in Shushan, may God answer us.
מי שענה לעזרא בגולה הוא יעננו. מי שענה לכל הצדיקים והחסידים והתמימים והישרים הוא יעננו.
And he who answered Ezra in exile, may God answer us. And all the righteous, the faithful, and the upright, may God answer us.
On page 472, we come to Avinu Malkeinu. I think that the key verse here is Avinu Malkeinu chatanu lefanecha. Our Father, our King, we have sinned before you. It all starts with this. Without saying this, the day of Yom Kippur is a waste. It is hard to say these words. It is hard to acknowledge that we have done wrong. I have sinned and I am sorry are the hardest words in the language to pronounce. But say them we must. And once we do, how much lighter, how much cleaner do we feel? Page 472, Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu ein lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign but you. Avinu Malkeinu, help us to return to you fully repentant. Avinu Malkeinu, grant us a good new year. Avinu Malkeinu, send complete healing for our afflicted. Avinu Malkeinu, frustrate the designs of our adversaries. Avinu Malkeinu, remember us favorably. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of sustenance. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of merit. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of forgiveness. Avinu Malkeinu, hasten our deliverance. Avinu Malkeinu, grant glory to your people Israel. Avinu Malkeinu, hear us, pity us, and spare us. Avinu Malkeinu, accept our prayer with mercy and favor. Avinu Malkeinu, have pity on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, act for those who went through fire and water for the sanctification of your name. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, graciously answer us, although we are without merits. Deal with us charitably and lovingly save us. Page 476, Kaddish.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Ba'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Ba'anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu,
Chanenu v'anenu,
Chanenu v'anenu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu,
Chanenu v'anenu,
Chanenu v'anenu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Ki ein banu masim.
Page 476.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב אמרו, אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קודשה, ברכו לילה ולילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ואמרו, אמן. תתקבל סלטהון באותהון דכל ישראל, קודם אבוהון דבשמיא ואמרו, אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו, amen.
Page 478, we rise. Adam Lane leads us in Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת קדילה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגוי ארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומתרחבים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Before the mourner's Kaddish, the tradition is to read Psalm 27, which you'll find on page 484. This is an interpretation of Psalm 27 by the poet Alicia Ostreicher. You are my light, my help. When I'm with you, I'm not afraid. I want to live in your house. The enemies that chew my heart, the enemies that break my spine, I'm not afraid of them when I'm with you. All my life I have truly trusted you. Save me from the liars. Let me live in your house. Page 484.
Adonai odi bishimi, Adonai maoz chayai mimi echad. Yikrov alamrei lechol et besari tzarai vo'evai ema kashlu v'nafalu. Achad sha'alti me'et Adonai, ota vakesh. Shifti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot binoam Adonai uvaker beheichalo. Shema Adonai kol yekra b'chonin v'aneini. Lulehem anti lirot betuv Adonai be'eretz chayim. Kaveh el Adonai chazak v'yametz libecha v'kaveh el Adonai.
The congregation marks the following yahrzeits. We remember Eleanor Rossoff, the mother of Amy Massbaum, Molly Elgarten, the mother of Gerald Elgarten, Betsy Scher, the grandmother of Janet Scher, Eric Spevak, the father of Susie Markson, Muriel Etko, the mother of Ellen Cheek, Seymour Mellon, the father of Jay Mellon, William Wellick, the father of Mark Wellick, David Weinstein, the brother-in-law of Phyllis Weinstein, Leonard Savitt, the father of Arlen Savitt, Rena Farber, the mother of Matthew Farber, David Benjamin, the father of Matthew Benjamin, Lauren Salb, the daughter of Richard and Judith Salb and the sister of Rachel Feitlinger, Michael Farber, the husband of Linda Farber, Leonard Dreyer, the father of Susie Golub and grandfather of Richard Golub, Arlene Stone, the mother of Nancy Cohen, Stanley Rossoff, the father of Amy Massbaum. The mourners and those observing the yahrzeit of a loved one turn back to page 482 and rise for mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayichon uv'yomechon uvichaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv, ve'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, le'olam almaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei kudsha brichu. Le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. It's my pleasure to call upon Eddie Lang, who will make some closing announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi Klatzker and Cantor Rubenstein, for leading us in this beautiful service tonight. I also want to thank and recognize Denny Lieber, Ariella Trost, Jan Shear, and Adam Lane for your participation. And of course, special musical appearances by Brianna Kaplan, Sammy Zell, Frank Jacobson, and Scott Wigand. Thank you also, Scott Wigand and the technical team, for your assistance tonight. Without Scott's direction, management, and technical prowess, I'm not sure how we would have produced these high holidays with the quality and standard that we've come to expect at Congregation Or Tzion. Kol hakavod to Scott and the following members of the team: Linda and Les Moskowitz, Heather and Mitch Ross, Jay Spector, Gail Nachamovitz, and Zach Wigand. Throughout these high holidays, we've been recognizing our 76th new members of Congregation Or Tzion. Welcome again to each of you. We're glad to have you. Continue to stay tuned during our breaks, where you will also see announcements of upcoming events and more memorable photos of our congregation's past. There will be some time tomorrow for some special moments of reflection to think about our memories of our beloved Rabbi Micah Kaplan of blessed memory. I want to thank these members of the High Holiday Planning Committee for the extraordinary planning and work to make this year so special. My father, Frank Lang, Vice President of Ritual, Chuck Abrams, Rachel Feitlinger, Mel Glazer, Steve Goldstein, Susie Golub, Frank Jacobson, Rabbi Klatzker, Hannah Lang, Amy Lieber, Denny Lieber, Shayna Millman, Stephanie Monier, Linda Moskowitz, Gail Nachamovitz, Susan Portnoy, Mitch Ross, Cantor Rubenstein, Steve Schlosser, Adam Schwartz, Alan Silberman, Nikki Spivak, Nancy Stone, Rabbi Sussman, Michael Tarnow, Ariel Trujillo, and of course, Scott Wigand. Please join us tomorrow morning, beginning at 9 a.m. for our Yom Kippur service. I wish each of you a meaningful fast and Gamar Chatima Tova.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא בעינת אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם בכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, היה נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר דתו לעולמים, לזולתו, צופה ויודע, זה תרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקץ ימין, משיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו, מת יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעת שם תהילתו. No, not 4 p.m. In 20 hours.
I'm going to take the day off. Ashley Clark, she was very nice.